All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Brazilian Dragon podcast. Here for some special Traitors coverage about the Traitors US Season 3. And I'm a guy who wants to go on the Traitors just to try the breakfast because the food looks so yummy. And I'm the titular Brazilian Dragon, Felipe. But today I'm actually a traitor because I stole this faithful's identity. Abi-Maria Gomes, welcome back to the Brazilian Dragon podcast. She is the real Brazilian Dragon. I am just the traitor who stole her title. Abby, welcome back.
OMG, how could you take such a faithful dragon from the castle nickname away from her and steal it? Now I know
I
you're a traitor,
it,
so now I have to get rid of you.
yes, you have to get rid of me. But what if you're a traitor trying to get rid of other traitors, like all of our traitors in this season? It's so messy, and I'm so excited to dive deep into this. But first of all, Abby, how's the update? How have you been since I'm looking here at my notes? You the last time you hopped on the podcast with me was to talk about the Si Se Puede and Latin American representation 2.5 years ago, because Indy was in the Big Brother house at that time, and
That's
then
right. Oh my God, that's the last time I was
on
at.
the podcast. But we've seen each other since. But yeah, it's been a while. But how have you been? What's the life update for all the fans of Abby Maria?
Oh my God. So that was what? What year was that? That was
That
20.
was here. I'm gonna look that up. I think it's 2022 is when Taylor won Big Brother.
2022. So at that time, I was still single. I wasn't in a
Yes.
relationship. So since then, I found my soulmate.
Yes, and he's very friendly. I vouch for him.
Thank you. He's a keeper. He really does make me feel safe. You know what I love to say about Fez is that he's great for my nervous system.
I
He
love
really
that.
yeah, like I never, everybody would ask me, like, what's up? Like, what's going on with him? I'm like, I feel so safe. Like, that fight and flight that people
Yeah.
have. And sometimes you just feel so like, you're not like you're on your toes and you're in a relationship and you're supposed to feel like safe. And that's what he gives me a lot of safety. So I feel like my nervous system is like in such a great place right now. So that calms my heart. That makes me feel more clear and confident within myself. So I'm romantically, I'm in a really good place, and I met him in a very serendipitous way. And because of his influence, like when people say you are the company that you keep, because of his influence, I've taken great steps and I've invested in myself. I'm back in school. I'm finishing my education that I started when I was an international student, when I was like an ESL student. So I'm back after so many years to finish what I started when I was in my 20s. So that's how good it is when you have good people around you.
I
That
love
that's
that.
good for your nervous system.
Yes, no, I love that. That like is something that I think is so important, especially like as I am dating these days. It's like that is someone who like makes you feel secure and calm and like kind of like makes you feel like the best version of yourself.
100%. That's 100% how I would describe my relationship. I've really never really been in a relationship that I felt like I could be myself and the best version of myself.
I
I know
love
I'm a
that.
I know I'm a brat, but he brings the fun bratty side of me.
I love that. Yes, and he's also supporting your podcasting tonight and is he's letting us podcast together
Yeah, we can
and
kick
I
it
love that.
together. We can kick it
Um,
together.
he's a big fan of you, of course. Now I am very excited to chat about traders with you. But before we do that, in the pre-show when we were chatting, we were just talking about like Brazilian representation, and I have to ask, have you watched Fernanda Torres and I'm Still Here yet, or no?
No, I'm rooting for her greatly. I've seen clips of the movie, but I haven't found it yet. Maybe you can tell me, where can
Okay,
I find the movie?
I
Because
think they're
I'm
showing at a
dying
couple.
to watch.
I think it's showing at the AMC Burbank, the 16. I think it's also at the Century City Mall, maybe. I will send you some, I'll send you like I will do my research because I also am trying to bring all my friends and be like, come on, show up for my people, like
Of
all my American
course,
friends. I'm like,
we have to support
yeah.
each other, and that's what we were talking about it earlier. We Brazilians, we are everywhere, but at the same time, we're such outsiders, and we're such outsiders in our own community that we need to support each other more. I don't know why Brazilians don't support each other more. I think we need to give each other more love because we're like literally the one of the only, well, the only country in Latin America that speaks Portuguese.
Hmm.
Most of the countries in Latin America, they are like Spanish speaking. There are a few countries like in what? It's in um the one that's
Portugal, Suriname.
well, yeah, the one that speaks Dutch, in Suriname, and then like that the
Uh,
Aruba, they speak in
yeah,
Dutch.
yeah.
Most of them,
Most of them is Spanish, but and then there's like a couple Portuguese, a little French, and like a little Dutch. Yeah, it's
French
just
Guiana and a Dutch
yeah.
Guiana. So it makes like Brazil such like a country that's excluded from Latin America that it's like I think that we have to be more supportive towards each other. My mom did watch the movie though, and
Okay.
she spoke highly, and she watched it in Brazil.
Yeah, I saw it with my parents when I was in Brazil and I loved it. Just like as someone who grew up in America and like my parents never really talked about what it was like to grow up in during the military dictatorship, but like it definitely like opened my eyes a little bit more, like
I
gave me a little
was
bit more understanding.
born during
Yeah.
that time. I was born in 1979, so the dictatorship was happening until 1985.
84, 5, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh
1985. So I do know my family, friends and family, like people that just like disappeared because they couldn't speak against the
yeah.
government, military that was like,
And
ruling.
that's the whole concept of this movie is like the autobiographical story of Eunice Paiva and like her husband. So and it makes me want to like read more and learn more about like Brazilian history. Like I knew of the dictatorship, but like just like again, it's just not talked about it. Like even in Spanish classes growing up in high school, they would like have us watch all these movies from Spain and Argentina and all these different movies, but we never talk about Brazilian film. It took until college when I was studying Portuguese, taking Portuguese classes for me to like do a class about Brazilian film and how much like beauty there is in rich culture.
Oh,
And
I
like Central
really
Station is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's so good. And of
yeah,
course, like the story of Fernanda Montenegro and Fernando Torres, and it's just so
beautiful.
important to Brazil. But like
Brazilian
I
art needs to be celebrated more for sure.
the music, I mean, like we Brazilians know how to throw a party and like we know how to make
You
art. We
cannot
know
have a party and not invite a Brazilian. We
it's
all know that.
disrespectful.
It's
Exactly.
it's disrespectful,
Yeah.
exactly. And with that being said, that's another thing. Like, I don't feel like Brazilian culture is celebrated enough, and we
Yeah.
have such rich culture, and I think that we need to celebrate. You know what? Because Brazilian fans are very demanding. That's how I felt when I was. That's how I felt when I was on Survivor. I'm like, damn, I felt like the Brazilians would give me a lot more love, but they wanted to win. So I'm like,
Yes.
you know what? I have to like win one of these game shows one of these days because then my Brazilians will be all behind me, like
Well,
the
when
fans.
they were announcing the Oscars, if you want to go look at the YouTube chat from the live stream, it's all the Brazilians just like celebrating Fernanda Torres when she gets announced. And like I was in Brazil when she won the Golden Globe, and I felt like the energy of the country shifting in that moment. And just like Brazilians, we are the most crazy, passionate fans. That's the word I describe Brazilians as. Brazilian culture is a ton of passion. And
Yep.
like that is very exciting. Like we scared one of the actors from Everybody Hates Chris, like the Brazilian fans. You know the story, right? That like
No, I
he
don't know the story.
so
No.
Tyler James Williams, who was Chris on Everyone Hates Chris, he's like, yeah, the Brazilian fans are intense. They kind of scared me. And he said something, and then he lost a ton of Instagram or Twitter followers. And then one of his co-stars from that show, Vincent Martella, put on a shirt, a Brazil like soccer shirt, and says, "I love Brazil." And then he got a ton of followers because of that from
Yeah,
Brazil.
honestly,
Um,
yeah, we need to get like those 200 million people rooting for me again. We need to get
I
me back
love it. Well,
on
I
the
on the
Traitors.
Traders. Well, I wanted to ask, like, of course, you should definitely be on the Traders. Your Cambodia winner, Jeremy, was on it, and he went on Sharon Tharp's podcast and said Abi-Maria needs to go on the Traitors. Kelly Wentworth was
Oh,
her recap guest last week and also said Abi-Maria should go on the Traitors. So I think Abi-Maria, this is I obviously want to see more Brazilians in general, but it would be an honor to get to watch you play a reality show, specifically The Traitors, which seems like so fun, so stylish,
too
which you have
long.
style.
It's been too long.
It's
I
been
know.
too, yeah.
I know. I need to be like put on a castle with my Brazilian
Yes.
sass,
Well,
my
I
curly hair, and my.
selfishly, I wanted to ask you, have you ever seen any of the Housewives shows before?
I have, but I watched it like
Okay.
back in the day. I don't have a lot of time. I'm like so
You're
busy.
always studying.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
always studying now,
Yeah.
writing. Oh, by the way, like just going back onto the Brazilian dictatorship really quickly before we lose that.
Yeah.
Um, I am. I think I'm gonna have time. Let's see, but I might write a paper for a scholarship that I was invited to apply for. It's a history scholarship, and I'm thinking about writing about the Brazilian dictatorship because I think that that's a topic that needs to be shared more
I
often.
agree. Yeah.
And look at the times that we're living right now. It's
Yes.
insane.
That's why I think I'm still here. I understood like it really affected me. It's also felt like because this was in December, it was Christmas Eve that I watched it. And I'm just like, oh, this feels ominous. And like
Very ominous.
I found some screenings here, and I'll send you. A lot of AMC's do have screenings currently, so I will send you the list after we finish recording,
All
so
right.
that you can maybe get a chance to see it. But yes, I'm still here. Highly recommend not just Abby watch it, but everyone. If you're listening to this, go support Brazilian cinema. Go support Fernanda Torres because her performance is just like incredible. Like it feels like
Natural.
effortless. It
Yeah,
yes.
effortless. That's what my mom said. Oh, ela foi tão natural. Ela virou a Eunice Pávia. I was like, that's a yeah, she deserves it.
She really does. And then, but I asked about the Housewives, particularly because my friend Quandel, we both love the Traitors, but he comes from the Housewives world, and I come from the Survivor Big Brother world. So we made a deal that he watches a Big Brother season or a Survivor season of my choice, and I'll watch a Housewives choice. So he had me watch Real Housewives of Miami because of the Latinas, and
Mhm.
Adriana Gimora is a Brazilian housewife on this. So my dream is to watch you and her both on the Traitors at the same
That
time, and you
would
can have a
be
little Brazilian alliance.
how fun. That would be amazing. Oh my God.
And maybe Indy from Big Brother. We just have like, or you all just go on Traitors Brazil happens, and you
Okay.
get to do Traitors US and Traitors Brazil because I think,
That would be, hey, I can totally make a career out of reality TV. Look at Boston Rob.
look at
Look
Boston Rob.
like they're all like making like they're like the monopoly or like the
Yeah.
hierarchy of like reality TV. I mean, I love them and I love the blueprint and the map that they left us with, but I think that I want to shine too.
And in this day and age, it's 2025. Let's have a little bit more diversity in terms
More
of like,
diversity.
and I love Parvati and I love Boston Rob, but let's give it to some, where's our Latino dynasty? Sandra, of course, Sandra, we pay our
Yeah,
respects to the
yeah,
queen,
recently, like, yeah, we are like the queen, bow down to the queen always. But
but let's get some Latin flair in there. And there's not a ton of Latin like stars in the same like when you think of Latin Survivor All Stars, I think of you, I think of Sandra, and I think of Ozzy. Those are like the first three that come to mind. Um, and there's others, of course, but like for especially for me, like Brazil, like we've never had a male Brazilian, and I'd love to be the first.
yeah,
As
hey, let's
yeah.
go. Have you been applying?
I've been applying. Like I have a new like fire. Like I think 45 really like lit a fire under me. Like the 90-minute episodes, it like got me back. Like I was still a fan. Like I never stopped watching. I always like was a super fan. But like I definitely like Carolyn season. I remember I would just watch the episodes and then I would just like move about. And then 45, it's like, oh, I'm all back in. And it's just like what 30 minutes of more Survivor can do.
Oh
Seeing
my
like the
God.
characters. But speaking of, have you ever like run into Carolyn or
I have not. I
no?
have been so busy living my own reality of a life, like my
A real
own life,
life, yeah.
real life, that I haven't really had the chance to attend any
Yeah.
of like, the Survivor gatherings.
So was Jeremy the only person you knew personally on this season?
Who?
Jeremy?
Jeremy. Yeah, I
Yes.
played Survivor
Yeah.
with him. So yeah,
You voted for him to win. Yeah.
I think I've met. I don't. Maybe I've met Boston Rob back in the day at one of those finales, but really quickly. And
Yeah,
I think he told me once that one of his daughters was my fan when I was
as
on
she should
Survivor.
be. Who is it? Who should everyone should be your fan. And also like
Yeah,
let us just remember Abi-Maria has never had a bad take. She was
I have
beefing
never
with the
had a bad.
people that needed to be beefed with.
I feel
Like
like I am Derek, and
yeah.
that's
You
you know.
you have you have that Brazilian third eye. You have the
I
Brazilian
have
premonition.
that
Yeah.
person. I think so too, because Derek, I'll tell, I watched his Big Brother season. He's very intelligent, and I loved his moment with Boston Rob at the round table tonight. It was like, wow, like the battle of the giants, you
Yeah.
know. The two guys that really are a few steps ahead when they're playing those games. But yeah, like that like I don't know. That was
Yeah.
great. That was great to
Uh,
watch.
and you've been a Traitors fan since the first season. I know you watched last season. Did you watch Cerise
I've been a
season?
Traitors fan since the first season. I've
Okay.
actually watched the UK version. I've
Yes.
watched the Australian version. I watched a lot of the international versions when I watched Siri when I really got into it. I thought it was like, oh my God, this is like genius to get all these different characters from these different shows. It's great.
Yes. And of course, I have to ask, would you want to play the Traitors?
I would love to
Yes,
play the
okay. I knew that you like selfishly I'm like put Abi-Maria on the Traitors. But
love.
like you
Yeah.
need to you're the one who needs to sign off on that, not the fans. But I'm so glad you said that because you would be so good at it. And like you said, you have like this I feel like you have great reads. I feel like you always know when something's off. You are a vibes girl. Like you know.
Definitely energy, intuition, 100%. And I think that has a lot to do with me being an immigrant.
Mhm,
I've I've immigrated to Sweden. I've immigrated to the US where I finally got settled. But I think that when you're traveling around and you're like a nomad, you learn, before you learn the languages, you learn people's nonverbal
mhm.
communication skills, right? You learn how to read people before you even know how to communicate verbally with them. So I think that I just have a really great read on people. And I am a broker now. I got my broker's license and I work with people really from all around the world. I have clients right now that I'm working with from Brazil, from Sao Paulo. I have clients from Switzerland. I have clients from Germany. I have American clients. So I think I get to talk to people on a daily basis from like all different walks of life, really, that it really makes me a very good judge of character.
Yes, and I agree with that. And I also feel like just in a different way, like growing up in America, but like having my Brazilian culture be very important to me and like having Brazilian parents, like I could see like the cultural shifts between like when I had to walk into a room, it's like code switching. Like you turn your American version on and then you turn your Brazilian version
Yeah.
on when you're around different circles. And it's definitely like something that people who just grow up white people in America who grow up learning English and going to school and just like having a normal life who are like seventh generation American, they don't that's not a skill they necessarily have to like work on all that often because they're in an American centric environment. And I feel like that's something that you really had to both struggle with and then overcome and persevere through with your Survivor seasons is like the cultural differences. But also I think that also sometimes can be your superpower. And that's how I'm trying to see my life. It's like, oh, I'm trying to see it as the positive because there's been so many times in my life that I'm like, oh, like ashamed of my Brazilian culture. And I'm like, no, this is a superpower. Let me lean into the positives
Superpower.
of it.
Oh my
Eh,
gosh, especially now with like all this political climates in the world and people just not really getting each other and not understanding. Gosh, more and more it makes me really proud of being Brazilian, especially every time I go back there. Like, even though it's like a country that's like a developing country,
mhm.
people are just so like, I mean, there is a lot of crime and violence just like everywhere in the world. But if you want to be positive and look at the bright side, there are a lot of wonderful people. And Brazilians, they're just really nice people. They're
The
very peaceful,
hospitality, the kindness, the care that people have for each other, everyone's friendly. It's just
welcoming,
yes.
accommodating,
Gentileza is like a word that comes to
very
mind. It's like everyone
gentle.
has that, and it's also just like such a beautiful country. Like I feel like the like when I'm here, maybe it's just because like that. when I'm there, it's for vacation, so I think everything is a little bit more like colorful and fun because I don't have like anything else bothering me that is keeping me like work stress, life stress, bills, like all the regular things. When I'm on vacation, I can kind of turn that part of my brain off. So maybe that's why it's so vibrant, but it's just such a beautiful culture and country. And I would love to see, like we were saying, more Brazilian representation on television and more Abi-Maria, of course.
Yeah,
And that's
we'll get there hopefully soon.
Yes, and I feel like you have to be someone like that now that they've gotten a lot of these like winners out of the way. I feel like now that they're like picking a Carolyn who's a new era all-star, they like have room like they pick Stephanie LaGrossa who's like a legacy casting. But I feel like now it's time to go into like the second Survivor Second Chance, like you and Kelly Wentworth on the Traitors. There's like so many all-stars that they could pick. I could see Andrea doing the show. There's so
Yeah.
many people, but like first and foremost, get you on the show for me selfishly as a fan.
Yeah, we'll get back.
Yeah.
We'll get back there one of these days.
I would love to see it. So you've seen Derek's season. Were there any other people on this season outside of the Survivor people that you were familiar with before they were on the show or because I know you don't
I knew Gabby. I
Gabby.
watched her seasons, and I've been seeing the internet rave about her being the next Jennifer Coolidge.
Yes.
Totally is. And
I
I
love
love
that.
all of like the Bachelor, like when she was the Bachelorette, I loved it. When she was on the Bachelor, I loved it. I think that like Gabby has like this sense of humor that is just so authentic and just so her that I really love watching her like every time she's on TV. Like she just
Yeah.
makes me so comfortable. She's like one of those people that I just want to hang out with.
I can relate. Like she's so like she seems so easy to be around and like so
So
comforting and
easy.
such a
Her
calm
energy is
presence.
comforting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her partner is a stand-up comedian. So I never actually watched Gabby's season of The Bachelor because I kind of fell off The Bachelor like you. It's like I'm trying to prioritize the television shows that I keep up with. And The Bachelor
Right.
was just one that's like it's 2 hours every week and it's not something that like I would run home to and watch like Survivor like the Traitors. But
Right.
I had seen Gabby's partner on a stand-up lineup before because someone I know was on a lineup at I think the Laugh Factory and Gabby's partner is a stand-up comedian, and she was so funny. So I can understand that the two of them probably like are so funny together. They're always laughing, I bet. Yeah. And I love Gabby. Like she was a discovery for me on this season because yeah, I didn't know her. I knew Wells because I used to watch when Wells was on, but I didn't know her. So
Yeah, Bells was on this season, huh? Oh,
yes,
shit. Oh my God, it's moving so fast.
it's
Yeah,
so
I watched
fast.
them too. And
Yeah,
then Wes, yes, I
Wes,
just watched Wes on the House of
House of
Villains.
Villains. Yes, would you do that one or no?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Who
I'd rather
knows?
see you on the Traitors. Like,
I would rather do the Traitors too, but like House of Villains was funny. Like I was
yeah.
laughing. It was,
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're more I would rather see you on the
like
Traders, but if they
Traitors.
give you the opportunity to take it, of course I'm gonna support.
And it
Uh
depends on like life where I
yeah,
am.
for sure.
But
Um
the Traitors is like a no-brainer. Like
yeah.
a
I want when you go do the Traders, I need you to tell me if the food is actually as yummy as it looks on TV.
Does look good.
Yeah.
Gabby caught me by the stomach. That's for sure. When she was talking about the salmon and
Yeah.
the goat cheese, I'm like, damn. Well, her and I could totally be eating like smoked salmon, goat cheese, and some nice.
Yeah. I have to assume she's in LA. Maybe she's in New York, but she feels like a West Coast girly.
She does feel very West Coast, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Now do you want to talk about the latest episode and like what
Sure,
we just
we
watched? Yeah,
can.
so
Like one of my favorite things, though, like I wrote it down here. Like it was the last, at the turn, the last little song that they played, and then it goes like, "What is a broken heart between friends or enemies?" I was just like,
I
"That."
wrote that down too.
You wrote
Because
that
it's
down too?
yeah, no, the music. So in terms of the music, I feel like people don't talk enough about like the music is so good on the show. But that was like so powerful, like because of like everything happening with Danielle and
Last
Carolyn.
scene? Yes, I'm like, damn. And then they made Danielle really look like crazy and
Yeah.
Carol super crazy. Like they're like a splash of an abstract painting. Like,
Because
oh my God, it was great.
I was like, oh, we'll talk about it throughout the episode, but I felt like this sets up them so good because there's like no one could the faithfuls would be like there's no way they're all traitors together, but like and they're all kind of doing
Functional
their own things,
family.
but now they're like still going at it. There's no that like that could have been a way for them to recover. And to Danielle's credit, she didn't say anything that we saw in the episode about Carolyn after they made the truce. But Carolyn was getting all this old information from days previous. So, but that like musical cue was so smart and so genius because like from everything I understand, the Traitors is emotionally exhausting. Like it's very different than like a Survivor Big Brother because even though it's so fast, like for whatever reason, like because you're deceiving, like seeing Suri deceive her friends in that first season and how emotional they were about it. Like it is very powerful to watch. Like and when they undercut it with like music like that, I love that you wrote it down too because I definitely caught that.
It was amazing. Yeah, I wrote that. And then, like the
Yeah,
traders are definitely like a dysfunctional family this season. It's like,
yeah,
I just really don't like, well, yeah, I guess I understand how Boston Rob is skating through it. Like he is so, like, he is really good at his games.
yeah,
All he has to keep the reins like in the control, but it doesn't work for everybody, that type
yeah.
of
No,
works for him.
and I think something that I feel like a lot of the discourse is like they're like saying, oh, people are just like blinded by Boston Rob, but no, he has this charm to him that like he probably has these one-on-ones that we're not seeing where he's getting to know people and having like
He
good
really does
conversations with
keep,
them.
he really does keep them close. Did you see that right away? He goes to each one of them and he charms them, and he
Yeah.
makes them so secure. He's very charming. His energy is like one of those energies that like, you just really want to be his, like he's like the mafia mob.
Yeah.
100.
And there's a reason like there he has like the social finesse to like be like a force but not be rude or demeaning like Wes seemed to have with people like
And that's where I was gonna come to. So, like, I would say that Boston Rob is like the magician, right? And he
yeah.
has all the finesse in the world, and that Wes is like he's like a warrior, but because he's just so rough around the edges, he's smart, like he's intelligent. He has won all these games, but he's like a brute, and in a castle doesn't really go that well. He should be hanging out with that
Yeah.
guy.
And it's
Like
also
the
like different worlds. I feel like the CBS people come from more everyday backgrounds, whereas the MTV feels very like frat bro and like machismo is like kind of an energy on
it's like very
challenge.
unattractive to me. Like I
Yeah.
think I would not.
Abi-Maria, protect your peace. Please do not go on the challenge. You deserve better than
No,
that.
no, 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 no. That show's not for me. Those challenges, they look scary. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
don't that's for me.
you
I
deserve
would
better than the challenge.
survival went through. Like I would
Yes.
survival went through, and then Traitors, and then maybe House of Villains if you ever.
Yes.
Who knows? Who knows? But
And my take is once you do Traitors, then you bring Survivor to Brazil and go be the host over there for
there you
Survivor.
go.
Yes.
There you go. I can have my
Yes.
own travel show. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Ooh, a travel show. I would love to I feel like you have such good on-air presence. Like you would be such a good travel show host.
Thank you. Obrigada, amigo. My,
Yes. Yes. I'll give you your flowers anytime. Like Maria, you ever have a bad day and
I
I'll
deserve them.
just
I deserve them.
yes. You had the flower in your hair in the Philippines. Like yes, you need more flowers all over. Um
And then I think that like going back to the traders, and I think that Derek is very
mhm.
sovereign, very much like royal. And I don't know. I
I
would
I
hate
I feel like Derek would be not fun to play with, but like I understand his skill set. Like he's good, but he's also like kind of off. Like he like he's correct on his Boston Rob read, but I feel like he's so off on this Brittany, and we kind of saw it coming to a head at the end of the episode. Like, how did you
because
feel
his
about?
ego has gotten bruised, right? It's like he's not because I feel like what like it or not, I'm pretty sure that there is like a little bit of like a pre-game thing going on over there. I'm sure that there's like Big Brother people spoke with each other and the Survivor people kind of spoke with each other, and I
Yeah.
think what's happening there is just like, oh my God, how dare you? We're supposed to be this Big Brother alliance, and then why you're talking to Boston Rob and keeping me on the outs. I think that there's like a lot of paranoia there.
Yeah, and Derek on his season, like since you watched it, it was like a lot of like him kind of steamrolling. He got his crew, and he and Cody were in control of the crew, and he kind of like
And
was able to
remember,
do it.
oh,
And then that happened on. Cody's All-Star season is like a lot of like Derek's like pregame alliance with Cody, like they end up running the table. And so like
But
Derek
you
does a
know
lot
what?
of work
Because these
beforehand.
people haven't played with somebody like me, I'm not easily
Yes,
manipulated.
and Brittany's not like that either. And Brittany's
Oh,
season,
Brittany's been so quiet. Like, what has she done? It's just like, like everybody has talked such a big game about her, and
yeah,
I feel like Danielle is carrying the woman side of the season when it comes to the Big Brother
for sure.
players.
Brittany's
Wait,
more of Brittany's more of a personality. She wasn't always like her first season. She was definitely personality. She like Rachel Riley, right?
yeah,
Yes.
I'm her.
So Brittany and Rachel Riley were both on that season, and a lot of
I'm
Brittany's
waiting
comp.
to see some Rachel Riley and Brittany. I haven't seen it yet. She's playing. Her cards are really close to the heart, and I
Mhm.
don't think that they pass her for that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's definitely popping in the confessionals where she's making funny jokes. And like the first I wrote this down when Tom Sandoval was like talking to her. That was funny. But like she's
Yeah,
kind of like a background player right now. And I
she's
feel
too
like
much in the background. We need to
yeah.
see Brittany
But
shine.
I think maybe next episode we'll see her like claws come out because like Derek seems to be coming for her.
Yeah,
And I'm excited.
something is brewing. Something is brewing.
Yeah. Um, I definitely want to see more from Brittany because I think she's an underrated Big Brother player, but she's definitely keeping it close to the vest. And maybe like people are just like going off the last thing they saw because like Brittany played on the season with Dan, and maybe Dan told her like you have to like don't do what I did, and she's like I don't know, she's quiet, but like she says something every once in a while in a way. So I definitely feel like
But there
she's
are
also
so many big personalities out there. I'm sure that
yeah.
she have her moment to shine. I'm sure she's a very bright and intelligent player.
It's also her first season. She kind of got steamrolled in Hayden's alliance. Hayden from Big Brother. She was on that season also, and Hayden's alliance ran the show. And Brittany was very blindsided. And I don't think she wants to get done like that. And she doesn't. She's not trusting Derek. I don't think she wants that to
I
happen to her
wouldn't trust
again.
Derek either. Are you kidding me? If
Exactly.
I was there, I wouldn't trust him. I wouldn't trust Boston Rob. I wouldn't trust Wes. Like dangerous. And I know that like the production gods probably love them too because they are great orators. They are great
Yes.
storytellers. So of course that they're going to want to keep people that know how to like tell a story. So, but
How do you
I'm a great
feel?
storyteller too, and I come
Yeah.
with
Yes. I think everyone wants to be a traitor, right? If you go, you would want to be a traitor, or would you want to be a
get
faithful?
so much power by being a trader and a
Yeah.
lot more airtime. Come on, like if you
Yeah.
want to influence the world to do great things, you want to have some airtime.
And everything's in your control if you're a traitor. Like if you get voted out, that's on you. Versus like if you get murdered, like Jeremy did, you really can't do anything about it. It's kind of like not fun. Like Bob H, we saw. Like you can't control your destiny. It's just sometimes so
And
random.
Bob H was so fun to watch, and it's such a bummer that he like.
Yes. Did you think that was the right move to kill Bob H? The other people they were considering were Ivar and Wes, and they kind of gave Boss of Rob the floor, and he kind of like I felt like Carolyn and Danielle deferred to him in that moment.
Bob H was pretty loyal. I mean, he was. Why not get rid
Yeah.
of him? I think that sure. It's just like it really doesn't make a difference. And then they got rid of Wes anyway. I
Yeah.
mean, I am hoping that somebody sees that Boston Rob is the like the brains of the operation right now and the mastermind and get rid of him. And it's just crazy to be that nobody sees it.
Yeah, but like he has all these people on lock. Like these are the people that he's built relationships like Chriselle and Sierra and Sam and Dylan and Ivar and Brittany are the people that voted Wes out. And then Carolyn and Dolores were doing their own thing. So
Carolyn, I never really understood her, but I think I'm starting to get her.
I'm a
Because
fan of Carolyn. I
I am
don't
a
know.
fan too, but I just never
Yeah.
understood her. Like on Survivor, like I just remember her crying a lot. And then she made it to the finals, right?
Yeah, I remember her and Jam Jam would argue, but then they would work together.
Yeah, so that's cute. It's
Yeah.
like
I felt like she was using the round table as kind of like a tribal council. It felt more like this is my time to speak about like what I'm feeling, and this might not even go anywhere strategically, but I'm voting for Danielle because you hurt my feelings is kind of the sense I got to it. And I don't know, like as someone who's been to tribal council, that felt like the one of the more reminiscent of like a tribal council kind of like speech than
there were a lot
this.
of personal vendettas there, that's for sure. And yeah, Caroline, I can see her doing what I did on Survivor many times. Maybe I don't really understand her because I see myself in her a lot in a lot of ways, which
Yeah.
is weird. But yeah, a lot of personal vendettas. Like she's like doing what I did to Wu to Danielle. Just like you wrote
Yeah.
my name twice, and it's just like the thing you do. But you said my name. But that happens when you are in a game show like that, where you're
Yeah.
trying
And
to
you
do.
don't have every like it's so easy on television because you can see everything. But I'm sure like in the moment it's just like she like trusted Danielle and then she keeps hearing all these other people saying that her friend is like throwing her under the bus and it's just like well you don't know what's real, what's fake and like I actually applaud.
And she to me is like an abstract painting, and I love watching it, eating cereal with a fork.
Yeah, that was I saw that. I was like, is that with a fork? Like, excuse me? But I appreciate that she brought up how she like the world puts so much pressure on her because she doesn't conform to what like people want her to be. And I like that she's outspoken and she's quirky and she's weird. I like that about her.
I
And I like that
love
she
that
spoke
too
that. And
about her.
that's
Yes,
so inspiring as well, like just to be
very
herself and like own it. And like she has so many fans and like
yeah.
I love watching her because she's so authentic and like transparent.
Yeah,
Um
I love her too, and I know that the Survivor fandom and the reality fandom loves her. And I love her for all of the reasons that you just
and
pointed
she
out.
loves to laugh at herself, and that's something that I love about her. She and I
Yeah,
think you're very similar. Like you love to like make like memes and jokes about like and like you love to post the fan edits and like you love when people celebrate you because like at the end of the day like you're doing something for you, but also there's like a relationship to the audience that you all have. And it's fun to see you embrace it. And that in that way reminds me of you that she's also like a very good sport about everything.
very different, but I think that we're very similar in a lot of things.
Yeah.
I can see me in Caroline.
If you were her, how would you like would you try to go after Danielle like publicly or would you like try to confront her in the turret before going to the round table? Like because that's where I feel like strategically like I get that her emotions were like very hurt, but I feel like she probably should have like tried to chill out for one more night and address it in the turret as opposed to coming her at the round table. But also like when people are speaking up,
Yeah, she had her moment and she wanted to make her point, but I think that was a bit early. But like her game has been so unpredictable and she has been like such a wild card. And she knows what she's doing. I think that she's smarter than it comes off.
yeah.
I think that she really hearts very well behind that. I'm so clueless, like I think that she's playing that card because when you feel like come out too smart, then that becomes a threat too. But I think that she's coming in a bit too strong on Danielle. I don't know if she's getting a little paranoid, and I think it's a bit too early. I think I would get rid of Boston Rob first and then
It's also
go
like the traders. Like I understand with the recruitment, but like I don't think it's smart to go after the traders unless like there's already heat on
at
them.
all. Yeah.
I don't think like Danielle, like what Danielle did voting for Rob at the end of the day, like yes, it's an affront to Rob, but now it's okay because like they all survived and they can kind of just like, oh, they like this is good for like their protection, like optics that Danielle voted for Rob, they probably wouldn't suspect that they're both traitors, right?
Yeah.
But Carolyn's just kind of in her own world, and like another one who's kind of in her own world is Dolores voting for Tom. What did you think of like that whole story arc where like Tom and Dolores were kind of going after, and then Derek was like, we're gonna ignore this and we're gonna talk about Wes and Rob.
Yeah, where was like that was coming off of like a left turn or right turn, whatever turn.
Yeah.
It's just like the castle has so many different rooms that like what kind of conversation in which room were they in that like what like where was that coming from? Like do they know each other from the real life? Were they like did their paths cross because there was like a moment there to the Chriselle and Tom had a
Yeah, because of the Scandival and everything. Yeah.
so it's their stories have crossed in those reality
Yeah.
TVs a lot. So there's like a lot of personal vendettas happening out there on that,
I've been really enjoying Dolores. Like last season, I feel like we had a lot more housewives, especially because all the housewives died pretty quickly on this one. But like I think I like the housewives. That's like something that the show has taught me is like I
right?
yes, yes. I you have to wear something authentically Brazilian when you go on the traders. Like incorporate Brazilian style somehow. Like maybe like a dress made out of the flag. I don't know. Like or like maybe a conga like for one of the missions
And
like
now you're
but
calling
you would
that
probably be cold. Scotland looks cold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, but we can wear some like collars that pop and make him look
Yes.
cool. Like just his hair, come on.
Yes. Well, that's why I would love if like you and Adriana were on it together at the same time, because then the Brazilians.
Like
And then
going Portuguese.
yes, a little like we really don't get that. Like even with like people who speak Spanish, there's not a ton of like Spanish or French or Portuguese like subtitled action in these shows. Like that, I feel like that's a perfect way to make an alliance, just like a
So
foreign
like,
language.
porra,
But they
caralho,
probably yeah.
filho da puta, que merda!
Yes, that's how you react when you get a when you
Vamos fazer treta, vamos fazer treta.
yeah, that's how you react when you get a faithful out. That you're like, boy, like when you get a faithful,
Porra!
when you vote out a faithful. Um,
Pra
no,
making the alliance, vamos fazer uma treta? Vamos lá.
yeah, I love it. How do you feel about the missions? Do you like the missions on the traders?
They're fun,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The
Um,
missions are great, yeah.
Yeah. In terms of the strategy, it seems like they're gonna kind of bring back the Peter Pal strategy where they like have the secret shield. Each group has their own secret shield, but they because I think Danielle and Carolyn were in one group and Rob was in another. So there's like I definitely wonder how that's gonna affect who they murder. Because it's like I wonder if any of them were with Derek, because then Derek could have tried to front that he had a shield. But I wrote down Dylan got the
Uses some like
shield.
curveballs and like some, just makes it interesting.
Yes. I'm liking that now it's like kind of more secret shields and there's less because I didn't like that there were so many shields at the start.
I was,
Um,
yeah.
but we got Chriselle got a shield. They have Dylan got a shield, and who's the last one? Let me look at my notes. Who got a
Sarah
shield?
kind of too.
Um, I'm trying to find it. Did I not write this down?
I
I'm
think it's
silly. I think you're right. Yes, because I
Sarah,
guess I
right?
only
Because
wrote
the
two
last
shields. Yeah.
shield, didn't she?
Yeah, I think she got one too. Yeah, I just didn't write it down because I'm silly. But how do you feel about Dylan Efron this season? Because I came in knowing
Like a
nothing.
little unicorn. He's so cute. He's like a puppy. He is very intuitive. I think he has great intuition. I love that he's like a Boston Rob like fan, a
He knows who
survivor.
you are, probably, Abi-Maria.
Oh,
Zac Efron probably knows who you are too.
that's cute too. Oh,
Yeah.
that's lovely. Oh, I know who they are now too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you ever watch any? Yeah.
I know Zac Efron, but like Dylan, yeah, that's adorable. He's cute.
I know this is more of like my time, but did you ever watch like the High School Musical movies or Hairspray or any of the Zac Efron musicals?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen stuff with Zac
Okay.
Efron.
Yes. No, I like he is like perfect for like he was like High School Musical is like my growing up, so I'm a big Zac Efron fan. Even like I'm pretty sure there was a rock paper scissors challenge on the Disney Channel games at one point in time. So like hearing that like brought me back to childhood. Do you like rock paper scissors?
Yeah, I
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Are you good? You want to play? Let's see.
Yes.
Okay.
One,
Rock,
two,
paper.
three, go. Scissors. Go. Yeah, we got the same one. It's kind of hard to play on Zoom.
It is, but we
Yeah.
got the same one. Like you're waiting,
Yeah.
and I was waiting too. I was
Yes.
watching me.
Yeah. Now in terms of the other people there, do you have any takes on like Lord Ivar or Sam, the quiet people?
Lord Ivor is fun to have. Come on, to have a royal in a castle.
Yeah.
It's fun. What's the name of the Britney Spears ex-husband again?
Sam
Sam.
Asghari, I think.
He's
Yeah.
just like a good looking guy to look at. Like he doesn't really have a lot of like haven't really is he gonna blossom in the season? I mean he's cute. Like I wanna hear some he's very protected. Like we don't
Yeah.
know any confessionals. We see him like
Do you think he signed an NDA? He can't talk about it, maybe?
100% kidding.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he
And
can.
he's less messy than Tom Sandoval. Tom Sandoval would probably say anything because like he was also
That Sandoval just looks like he stinks though.
he's sweaty. He's so sweaty. He like probably yeah,
I mean, it's just I don't know how I
he has
feel about
crazy eyes also. Like he's always like looking at people, like looking into your soul. Like I feel like he's like looking at me through the TV and I don't like it. It gives me the hit ick. Um but so we kind of have like four suspects. We have like the Danielle, the Tom, Dolores stuff, and then there's like Wes and there's Rob. I thought Boston Rob defended himself quite impressively at the round table with all that heat. Like even though like we know he's lying, and Wes saying the thing, you said it immediately, like off camera, or like you said it immediately after the challenge that we have
Oh,
to get Bob. But
came
like
back.
he was so convincing, and he was like using 4D chess to like kind of get everyone on his side. He's like, of course they're gonna like. I was surprised Ivar wasn't killed. I was surprised I wasn't killed. But now that I think about it, they probably kept me and Ivar both alive so that they could kill Bob H, so that they could frame it on me. And like he's like his brain is incredible.
Incredible. He was there to take care of business. He's taking care of business. It's amazing. It's very inspiring to see how he like is always a few steps ahead.
Hmm.
He keeps people on their toes. He's a
Yes.
manipulator.
Now, if you were in that castle with him, you be suspicious of him because you know of the legacy of Boston Rob, or would you like would do you think? Because I don't know, I feel like he would have swindled me in that moment. I would have been like Dylan Efron. I would have been convinced, especially like as someone who knows Wes as well. Like I would have been like, oh, this like tracks, and like Wes's argument is sound, but he's being such a asshole like to the women. He's like, oh, I'll have my eyes on all five of you, and then
I
when
was
Brittany,
suspicious of him when he voted out or got rid of Bob the drag queen. And then when
yes,
Bob the drag queen like blasted his name on the table, and then why he was so convinced that Bob the drag queen was the traitor. So that would have planted a
yeah,
seed. Because why is he so certain? If you're 100% certain that somebody's the traitor, is because you're also the traitor. So like he would have
yeah.
been in my he would have that would have planted a seed of doubt in my head back 2 episodes ago that like he still would be in my death list.
I definitely agree with that. That's something that they need to like remember because I feel like as a television fan, as a television fan,
That's the thing what I've learned. People, it's about how you make people feel. And
mhm.
he's really good at making people feel really good.
Yeah,
And that's what he has. You're not there, but like I can see it. He makes
I
it's not about what you said. People like have short-term memory. They forget so quickly. I don't forget. I don't forget.
no,
So
we voted for you twice.
yes, yes, who voted for me twice? I don't forget.
No, just
Forgive,
even
I don't forget.
looking at the people who voted for Rob in this, it's Wes, it's Derek, it's Gabby, Danielle, and Tom. In terms of the men, like Gabby seems very warm and friendly. Danielle seems like she has that side of her as well. But like Wes and Derek and Tom, to me, like I feel like if just based on the way they come off on the show, they seem like they're a little slimy. There's like a second tension behind it. Whereas Rob does have like a warmth that I don't know if Derek or Wes have the same. They're both very smart as well, but I feel like Rob is like he's Papa Rob. He has four kids at home. He's like married to Amber. They have their love story on TV. I feel like he's just like seems like a very everything I've heard about him like through podcasts, through like different Survivor events. Like I've heard that he's just very friendly to people. Like he's a good time to be around. And not that Derek, Wes, and Tom don't have that. Maybe Tom doesn't have that because he seems like a shady person. But Wes and Derek, I feel like they have like a more harder exterior, whereas Rob is a little bit softer and like easier to get to know. And I think that's why like the people that seem like they have good judge of character as well, like are trusting him because he makes them feel good and empowered.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit I didn't feel that way about Rob when he was called the sellout
By
by
Tony,
Tony. Like
yes.
that moment over there, that episode made me feel like Boston Rob was on the same bracket as these other players.
Yes. In that
He,
moment I
he
definitely
gave
see
me the, he gave me the like, oh my
I
gosh.
probably yeah. In big settings I feel like he probably comes across more like that, but I feel like behind the
Not
scenes
the
he
same way. I don't know him
no
in
no no
person.
no yes.
Not like everything that like let's just make it known. Everything I'm talking about, like
Is via the
our
TV show.
in the TV show that I
Yes,
don't know.
because my interpretation is that he's probably having these one-on-one moments that is making people feel more secure about like him and having
Sure,
these
just like
strategy
this
conversations within there
episode,
as
like
well.
I saw that, like how he like went after each one of them and made them feel very safe and
Yes.
secure. Makes people feel good.
And I remember in Redemption Island, one of the things that has stood out to me is like he was good at making people feel like it was their idea.
It,
Um,
that's huge too because
yes.
people want to be right. That's another thing that I
And he
learned
did
about
that with Dylan with Bob the drag queen in that episode. And as a selfish
good. Yeah.
As a selfish fan of this show, I loved episode 4 in the Traders Roundtable for that episode with Bob the Drag Queen and Rob. I still like have clips from it saved on my phone because it was so entertaining.
It was
That
amazing.
said, it was messy gameplay on Rob's part because now like everything that's happened with Danielle, with Carolyn, is all because of Rob's big move in that episode and coming for Bob the Drag Queen so hard. And like at
Bob,
the end of the
right?
day,
It's great TV
it
though.
was a good move. Was it? I don't know, but it was great TV. It was great TV, and if it undoes Boston Rob this season, maybe he like went too hard. But that's why you cast Boston Rob because he's not gonna play soft. He's gonna play hard, and he's gonna make
Hard, yeah.
interesting
And Rob,
television. So even though he
I
could have
think
probably,
with me too. Like when I play those games, when I mean, gosh, I haven't been on one of these games in like what 10 years now, a
oh
whole
my God,
decade.
it's 10 years since Worlds Apart, which
Yeah,
means Cambodia was
yeah,
like right around the corner. Oh my God.
yeah. It's been so long, and I feel like every time I played pretty hard. So I don't know.
Yes, and listen, you
I'm
made it to
rusty.
the end both times. You made it to like day
I
35,
believe that
36.
both times I played, I made it to day 36. Isn't
I
that
love
insane?
that. Yes. And you were the star of both seasons to me. And I
Also,
still think
more so Philippines. I think that Second Chances, I think that Kelly Wentworth was more so.
yes. I think they kind of like you were kind of more in the background of the merge once the merge happened, but at the start of the season you went to every tribal, so you had to be on the television.
I think I was just so nervous on Second Chances. I think I was so attached to like Abby from Survivor Philippines. I think that I didn't process it.
It must have been like very
Like,
like
and then I had my torn ACL, and then
yes.
I had to get better. So I think it was too much.
There's also
Um,
probably like the psychology of like, and not just you, everyone on that cast probably had it, but like being voted in by the fans and like
oh, that
not
is
wanting to let them down.
so
And that
good.
probably adds a
I would
different
have that
layer.
again. I would hate to have that
Do you
again.
think they would ever do that again? I feel like in
I
this era of the landscape,
be on it again. If I would have to be a fan vote, I would say no thanks. I don't want to do that.
yeah. I
Too
don't know if they would. I think it's too volatile on social media for like the safety of the contestants and their mental health. I don't think
especially
it's worth it.
now.
And like the fans are just so ugly sometimes.
By the time we got to play, it was already so exhausting.
Yeah.
And all of these players already had all these like alliances, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like even what Shireen, she sent me a bottle of wine on the hotel before we flew out to the like it was too much and it just
Mhm.
already makes you nervous. Like if I ever am back on any of these competition shows, I really would like to go like without
Yes.
knowing any
Abi-Maria, what you got to do, people are going to call you, you listen, you just say, hang up, and then you just show up, do your own thing, put
it's just
everything on the field, and then go back home and live your best life.
yeah,
And that's how I feel like when I get to do Survivor, like I want to just like play as hard as I can. I don't want to live with any regrets. If I make a big move too early, you got it. You just like because the worst is to
when
you don't
even
want to
though
go home and say I should have done something when I had the chance. I would rather go home. I would rather be the next person voted out because I made a big move than to not do anything at all and regret not making a move.
right
Yeah.
exactly
And then I think you always played super hard. You were always
super
like, and I appreciated that about
I
that you.
always found a way, and I always played super hard. Even on Philippines, when I tore my ACL day one, and the whole world thought I was just a lazy bum, and nobody knew I
Yeah.
had a torn ACL the whole time. And then when people
They
learned
only knew
that,
about Jeff Kent. They didn't know about you.
exactly, they only knew about the World Series star, not
Yeah.
Abi-Maria, little
Uh,
Brazilian.
Speaking of Philippines, I also think Jonathan Penner would be fun to have on the Traders if he wanted to do it.
Oh, Jonathan Panner would be really good
And
on.
and another one, like obviously they need to call you first and foremost, but if they were to pick from Philippines, I could also see them calling Malcolm, and I feel like that might be fun to watch Malcolm. Yeah. But you number one, Penner number two for me.
Malcolm is also a great storyteller.
Yeah.
He should have like taken me to the end.
He should have. No, I maintain Denise and Malcolm both made a mistake voting you out at 5. It worked out for Denise, fine.
I
But
still think I could have won Philippines, by the way.
I think if
Even
it's
though everybody's like, no, you could never. I think I could.
Abby, before we became friends, I did a whole podcast about Abi-Maria would have won Philippines if she had made it through that because I think Lisa and that other guy should have taken you to the end. And
Oh,
against you and Lisa, I think it's closer than we want it to be. I think,
oh,
but
that
I think you
was
have
very exciting.
artists. You have at least three or four votes. Pete,
Artist.
I think Penner and Carter
I
probably vote
had
for you.
Yeah, and I think, Carter would have voted for me because I beat him to this day. He hates that a girl beat him on that challenge.
Yes. And I think Penner would have voted for you over Lisa and the other guy because he didn't want to vote for Lisa, and I think it's between you and Lisa at that point. I don't think that other guy has a chance. We're not talking about him. Like,
Yeah, yeah, freaking.
yeah.
I knew there was something
You
about him.
you tried to hit him on the head with the coconut. Like,
You can't write that. You
no,
cannot
you
write
had
that.
you knew it. You also knew about that moldy clown from Cambodia. You were Abi-Maria was on top of
Oh
it.
man, oh man, oh man. Yeah.
Again, this is why you would be a good faithful. You would call people out. You would get people caught, and we want you
I'll
to be
never
on
be a traitor. I'm a faithful already.
exactly. And even if you are, you would be able to hide well as a traitor. I just am looking forward to the day that you get to play traitors because it's not an if, it's going to be a when, Abby. We were going to put that out in the universe. Do you have any other takes from the episode other than we talked about the music, which I love?
Bella is the star.
Yes,
Bella
yes.
Bucky, like, oh my God.
Do you have some dogs with you next to you? What are their names?
I have Piggy, Mr.
Pig.
Piggy.
Oh my God, and he loves LA.
From LA, like we got like him this little sweater when the fires happened, like
Hmm.
LA.
And everything, you're doing okay with everything? Like,
I
yes.
live like south,
Okay.
I'm in county, but I live south, so like we're safe.
Yes.
How many people that I know that have lost generations of people that have lost
Yeah.
everything. Heart, breaks my heart.
Hmm.
I also have Mr. Sloth
Mr.
because
Slaw?
Mr. Sloth, it's a sloth.
Yes.
Lisa.
We need to get you a capybara so that you can have a Brazilian friend.
Well, like the sloth is like very Brazilian.
Yes. Yeah.
The sloth like was actually my inspiration when I was in Rio, like visiting my family. My cousin was just like, "Oh, one of my dreams is seeing a sloth." I'm like, "Damn, my dream too." I'm like doing a hike in Brazil, and I see like a sloth. I think I would lose my mind.
I just saw that Wendell went to Rio and I'm like, oh my God, we need to have a survivor event in Brazil.
This is Mr. Seal, Mookie the Seal.
Yes. Would you bring them with you to the traders?
They're all like, yes, they would all be my support system.
What would be the those like the camera shots of them like getting ready for bed? What would be the Abi-Maria like? Would you be in the bathtub with the duck? Would you be like doing some workout? Would you be reading a book? Would you be lighting a candle? What's the Abi-Maria signature
I think
move?
that lighting a candle and blowing the candle, going like,
Yes, I love it. Yeah, I love that little like B-roll footage that they get there.
love
Uh,
it. So cheesy, so telenovela. I mean, you
this
gotta.
show is a telenovela though. Like, is it not?
That's why I love it. Exactly. It's
How do
so
you
good.
feel about Alan as a host? I mean, we love
Oh, I
Lala,
love
but
him. Are you kidding him?
yes,
Are you kidding me? Sorry, are you kidding him, kidding me, kidding her, kidding them, kidding us? He's
hitting
like,
everyone. He's so
kidding us.
fun.
He's so fun. He's so cute. I was just doing his accent earlier today. Come on, Alex, guys, you're so cute.
The traitors, yeah.
The
Um,
triggers, I love it.
I did want to ask one thing that I've been seeing online is the discourse about like a little bit of the alpha male energy and the like how it's a little frustrating to see like all these men steamroll and like do you feel like there's like kind of an air not necessarily toxic masculinity but like an air of like male dominance that like the
Patriarchy,
ego these big egos, yeah,
a
the
patriarchy. Yeah,
patriarchy, yes,
of course. It's
yes,
it's been it's been a thing. The golden boy. It's like, it's a story that's
yeah.
always told. So I think we'll always see that. Like you can't run away from that. It's a part of like our story as a society. So I think that even when we have this competition shows that we're like building communities and alliances,
Hmm.
yeah, like,
And it
personalities will rise and
for
the
me it's
page.
interesting. Yeah, the patriarchy will rise, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But in terms of like this, something that is interesting for me in terms of the discussion is that it feels like all these like straight alpha men are walking into like the home of the girlies and the gays, like because it's the Bravo verse, and like the Traitors is like has the housewives, has these like queer icons, like the like all the stands, the majority of the reality TV stands, I feel like are like the queer community and like gay men in particular love the housewives. So it's like seeing this in the environment that is generally like occupied by like queens and
Right.
like yeah,
The
and I think
recipe for a great TV show, and
yes,
it would be great if the Bambis would have risen and protected Bob the drag queen.
yes. I did you have you seen Drag Race before? Like, are you a Bob the Drag Queen fan, or was this your first familiarity?
I watched a few episodes of Drag Race. Yeah, I know Peppermint. I think
Peppermint,
Peppermint is
yes.
my
Um,
friend. Um,
do you know Monet Exchange?
I think that when I went on the Survivor beach drop, I think she was there. I
She might
don't
have been
think,
there with Selena S. Titties. Were they
yeah,
there?
I
Yes.
think they were dressed, so I think they were just like casually
Yeah.
just.
Because Monet Exchange and Selena, they're both big Drag Race. Sorry, yeah, they're big Drag Race
My
fans. Of course,
fans
Felipe.
just
They're big
dressed.
Survivor fans. And Monet Exchange is Bob's best friend. They have a podcast together. So I think they might call Monet in the future, and maybe you and Monet can have an alliance when you're on the
That
show
would be
together.
cool. Well,
Because
make that work. Make
yeah,
that happen.
and
So,
Monet loves Brazil. Like she said it. Like I mean, the drag
who
queens love
doesn't?
Brazil. Who doesn't love Brazil?
Doesn't? Everybody loves Brazil. Are you kidding me?
Yes, and I just loved Bob, and like honestly, like Bob is so strong because I could not imagine. So Bob's mom passed away a couple weeks before they filmed this season. So to have the strength to do this show, like
Wow.
I would not be able to do it. And like you have to take the opportunities when they come to you, and that's probably what Bob was thinking. But that's something that wasn't discussed on the show. But and I don't I think Bob is just incredibly strong to like choose to do this despite everything else that is going on in their life at the time. And like I just so much love to Bob for being their authentic self on TV and just like going not many people can say they went toe to toe with Boston Rob and
All
Bob the
right.
Drag Queen, iconic. It's like Bob the Drag Queen and Lex
And
and
with Boston Rob,
Russell.
he's so confident, and that's another
Yeah.
secret. I think that when you do those
Yes.
things, you have to have like that confidence.
Yes. And like I think the shock for Bob was like Bob never expected Rob to do that. Um, Unrelated. Are you watching Deal or No Deal Island for Parvati or
Yeah,
no?
I'm
Yes.
watching it. Like, I actually want to catch up on the
I
most
won't say
recent.
anything, but Parvati and the Golden God, David and Dr. Will, they're just such good TV. I love all three of them. Like
Great.
Dr. Will is my
She's
favorite Big
always
Brother
great.
player.
She's so
So,
intelligent too. She's so confident. She's
yes.
iconic.
And she just started a podcast herself. And she's writing a book. So it's
I know. I heard. Like, I
so
have
much
to
good
get
stuff for Parvati.
so much.
Um,
She deserves it.
and I think of like I think of like you and Sandra as like Sandra's like your big sister and you're the little sister in terms of like Latin queens on the show. But like Sandra, she might have broken Traitors because of the metagaming of like everything like with the Traitors Angels. I my only concern, obviously, you're gonna do great on the show. We're not gonna put this out there, but for any
Yeah.
Survivor Big Brother people who go on season 4 of the Traitors, my concern is that the faithfuls, if they're smart, would just gather all together and be like, they've had a survivor every season, they've had a Big Brother player every season, and just vote them out. And
You have to pay attention to all the
yeah,
details.
so Sandra might have broken the game, but I think you'll be able to overcome because you are the Brazilian dragon. I just pretend to be on the podcast. Do you have anything else you want to talk about traders or any other thing that you have in mind? I mean, we can go back to other discussions throughout the day.
Talking for about an hour
Yeah.
now, and I
Yes.
need to eat dinner. So I think I'm
Yes.
gonna eat some
No,
food.
I agree. That dinner made me hungry before we recorded the dinner and the TV show. I was like, "Oh, this looks yummy." You have to let me know what the food tastes like when you do the show. Um,
You know.
but Abby, where can the people keep up with you? Are you doing anything you want to promote? Like any social media? And again, thank you so much for
I'm
making
pretty
time.
just so low key. This semester I'm finishing 2 classes, and I've been getting so busy with work stuff. I was doing a yoga teacher training
Ooh.
myself so that I could dip in my practice. And basically just, focus. in helping my clientele, my book of business in real estate. I deal, like I said, with a lot of international clients. They're relocating. But far as my social media presence, I'm more like present on Instagram,
Hmm.
and I can be found at the Abi-Maria.
Yes, and you usually post anything of note, like if there's going to be an event that you're going to be at, you post that all there anyway. So that's and I'll probably be there at those events. If Abby's in an LA event, there's a good chance I'll try to be there if it's Survivor related, because that's what brought us together, and I'm so grateful that Lynn Spillman and Jeff Probst put you on the show, like little old me in high school. Like just watching you, that meant a lot to me growing up, especially that was like kind of one of the that you were, it's either you or Matheus from the Glee Project were the first reality contestant that was Brazilian that I saw myself in. And I didn't really like Matheus all that much on the
Does
Glee
make a
Project.
difference.
Yeah.
Really does make a difference and
Yes.
inspire.
Visibility is important. And I hope that like one day when I get on the show, people, other Brazilian kids feel that like pay it forward, right? I want to do that to
Yeah.
people, whether it's through my
Oh, I hope I
art,
can see
through,
you on Survivor.
yes, you will. You will. It's not an if, it's a when. They just need to like
Yes.
figure that out. They just the
Keep on
universe
sending
is
your
not ready
video.
yet. Like,
Keep on
sorry?
sending your video. Keep on sending your video.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I'm gonna do it. It's just the universe is not ready for me to do it. Like I'm doing my part. I'm working on myself, and then the universe will be ready, and then Jeff will call me when it's time.
Oh, I
Yes.
know.
Because I'm like you. I'm all about self-work, and every day is another day to like make yourself better. Go work on your physical, your mental, your spiritual
Oh,
health. It's all very important.
growth is the intention. Growth is the intention.
Yes. Are you a journaler? Like, do you journal at all? That's something that I found has been like really helpful for myself. It's
Writing
just,
is really helpful. Writing is really helpful for me.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, so I
Yeah.
do like writing.
I'm
I don't
not,
do it every day, but I do it often.
I do it a couple times a month. I should do it more, but sometimes I get so busy and so
I have to
sporadic that I
write
forget.
much for school.
And you need your brain to relax a little bit. So you, yes. But Abby, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so appreciative of your time. I hope that people enjoyed this episode. If you did enjoy it, let us know on the social media. I'm on Instagram as well at What the Fleep. That's also my Blue Sky handle if anyone wants to get in touch. And while you're listening, just go give this podcast a 5-star rating and review on Apple. It would help more people discover what we're doing. And if you like this content, I do some sporadic reality TV coverage, but I also talk a lot about shows from Nickelodeon and Disney Channel and Cartoon Network from the early 2000s. So, in terms of that, just keep up with the Brazilian Dragon. And Abby, you are phenomenal. Obrigadeiro for listening, everybody. Until next time, bye.
Tchau, tchau. Beijos.